largest violation of human rights happening today, and largely being ignored and misconstrued, is the mining of cobalt in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Let's break this truth down. What is cobalt and what is it used for? Cobalt is a transition metal that is ferromagnetic at room temperature, or in other words, a forever magnet. It is one of the main components used in lithium-ion rechargeable batteries. It is known to have a high heat tolerance and level of conductivity. It also creates a stronger and longer charge for products that use it. Where are these batteries? There's one in the device you're using to listen to this right now. Think Apple, Samsung, Tesla, any rechargeable battery that powers your daily activities like a TikTok scroll, Facebook post, drive to work, or Netflix episode. Global demand for cobalt is expected to grow fourfold in the next 6 years, according to the World Economic Forum, and this is largely thanks to widespread adoption of electric vehicles. So, how do we get cobalt? Cobalt is a resource that must be mined for. Roughly 72% of the mined cobalt is taking place in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. In comparison, other resources such as Russia, Morocco, and Australia account for only 3% apiece. Why is this an issue? While companies needing cobalt for production claim they are sourcing it in safe and sustainable ways, they're actually sourcing it straight from the Congo mines. They claim it is being industrially mined, while in actuality it's being individually mined by human and often children hands. The dust from this mining is toxic as it has airborne cobalt and other metals such as uranium, and it is a known carcinogen, making lung disease a large concern for these miners. It has resulted in untold deaths and widespread contamination of the area's water, soil, and air, according to Siddharth Kara, author of Cobalt Red, How the Blood of the Congo Powers Our Lives. Kara is a human rights activist and has researched the conditions of the Congo mining as of recent and human trafficking for several years. Initially going to do some academic research, Kara said in an interview with Joe Rogan that when he got there and saw what he saw, he knew he had to do something, and urgently at that. So he wrote Cobalt Red. He says that people need to become agitated about it. He says that awareness is the first step. I'd like to read the first couple of paragraphs of this work now. The soldiers are wild and wide-eyed as they point their weapons at the villagers trying to enter the mining area at Kamilombe. Although they are desperate to reach their loved ones just a stone's throw away, the villagers are denied access. What has happened here must not be seen. There can be no record or evidence, only the haunting memories of those who stood at this place where hope was lost. My guide urges me to stay at the periphery. The situation is too unpredictable. From the fringes, it is difficult to see the details of the accident. The craterous landscape is obscured by a laden haze that refuses the entry of light. Distant hills appear only as the vague silhouette of a lumbering beast. I move closer to investigate, treading carefully into the boiling crowd. I catch sight of a body in the dirt. It is a child, lying motionless within a storm of dust and despair. I try to make out the features of his face, but they elude me. Around the lifeless body, the ochre gravel has been stained in dark shades of red, like burnt umber or rusted metal. Until this moment, I thought that the ground in the Congo took its vermilion hue from the copper in the dirt. But now I cannot help but wonder whether the earth here is red because of all the blood that has spilled upon it. This is a glimpse into what is truly happening in these mining pits. He calls this the bottom of the supply chain for our rechargeable products. Kara says in this same interview that at the top of the supply chain, We're told that it is industrially mined. Again, in reality, that it is by individual human hands. They're under the impression we wouldn't find this out because, quote, who's going to go there and record it? Turns out it was him. And if you search exposing slavery in the cobalt industry on CNN's Freedom Project, you can see the conditions he recorded on site. He was the first activist to discover and see with his own eyes these conditions that are modern-day slavery. Upon arriving to this mining site, Kara says that there was about 10 to 15,000 people, including children, packed in shoulder to shoulder and hammering for this sought-after but toxic resource. The people here make about $1 to $2 per day, he says. And I'm sure part of the reason most of this mining takes place here is because of the affordable or more affordable labor. One study showed that children in this area had urine with 10 times the level of cobalt than children living outside this area. Not only is this an infringement on Congolese human rights and dignity, it also requires destruction of the land and nature around it, such as deforestation, which is another issue entirely. Overall, it is a social justice and environmental issue, all for the convenience of a charged battery of products that rot us daily, the very products that rob us from the attention and compassion to care for situations like this to begin with. So what does this have to do with ecofeminism? Ecofeminism is the study of the ideology that oppresses women, racial minorities, LGBTQ+, disabled persons, how it links to the oppression of the ecosystem. The idea is that this ideology powers all of these different types of oppression. The Congolese people are experiencing this oppression every day. With a lack of concern and care for them, their children, their health, ecosystem, and dignity, this is one of the ecofeminist concerns that come to mind for me when thinking of occurrences happening today. From National Geographic, Lisa Benjamin, Associate Professor of Law at Lewis and Clark Law School in Portland, Oregon, says that while these metals are crucial for a renewable energy revolution, it's important to not sacrifice the health and safety of communities living near these deposits. Later on, the article adds that Benjamin says they should really have a say in whether or not these projects move forward, and they don't at the moment. So what can we do instead? Recycling these rechargeable devices could be a major solution to decrease global reliance on mining, while also lowering the cost to consumers and reducing the environmental impact of electronic waste. Like Benjamin said, at the very least, people should have a say in if these projects progress, so this could also be a great first step. MIT researchers have recently designed a lithium-ion battery that is reliant on organic materials rather than cobalt, nickel, or iron. There are supposedly quote-unquote requirements of which aren't being enforced, that these miners must be registered and be 18 years of age or older. The first step in this issue is to, like Cara said, spread awareness to get people agitated about this heartbreaking reality. If we can earn the compassion of product owners, producers would be more inclined to listen to our desire to have ethically sourced products. Without knowledge of what is going on across seas, they continue to not hold themselves to this higher or really bare minimum standard. Policymakers also need to be made aware of not only the reality but our desire for change. This is already taking place after a viral TikTok convinced vape users to give up their rechargeable vices. If the Congolese people do get the opportunity to have a say in these projects and they consent, we should make it our human responsibility and businesses, their corporate one, to find and make a way for these people to not only make a better profit from their hard labor, but to have the tools to do so safely. I do not condone taking work opportunities from people trying to make a living, but I do hope for them a better and more safe future in this industry if they choose to do so. Overall, I think this issue is the type we possibly would have studied in class due to the underlying ecofeminist ideas that charge the small movement against this situation, and I hope it becomes larger. It feels wrong and hypocritical to even record this on a device I know costed somebody their health, dignity, and possibly their life. But I think at the very least we should use these devices for the time being to fight against it. Use them to spread the word about it. Thank you.